It's got you. Howdy, my name is Patrick Von Dolan. On behalf of the San Antonio Family Association, I want to welcome you to another edition of Get to Know the Candidate, where we have one-on-one conversations with candidates who are running for Northeast Independent School District. And today we're honored to have with us Ione McGinty, who is running for her first time for Northeast Independent School District, District number 3, which is the Lee High School area, if you don't know. And so we're honored to have you with us, Ione. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. So this Monday, September 14th, 2020 is an important day. We are just 49 days before November 3rd, Election Day, and how crucial it is that everybody get out and vote. But you want to make sure you vote in an informed conscience. And one of the best ways to do that is have these one-on-one conversations. This race is way down ballot. This is a presidential election year in this general election, and there are lots of positions and offices up for election and on the ballot. So you have to work your way all the way down the ballot. And as a reminder, this will be the first election in the state of Texas that does not have straight ticket party voting. And so you'll have to be able to vote on this. And this is a nonpartisan election anyway. Northeast Independent School District is nonpartisan. But regardless, you have to make sure that you're going to vote for each and every candidate. There's no straight ticket voting. So with that, let me share with you one of the reasons why we do this and read to you what we're doing. Family, society, and civil authority. The importance of the family for the life and well-being of society entails a particular responsibility for society to support and strengthen marriage and the family. Civil authority, which includes Northeast Independent School District, should consider it a grave duty to acknowledge the true nature of marriage and the family, to protect and foster them, to safeguard public morality, and promote domestic prosperity. So Northeast Independent School District has about half of the budget of the city of San Antonio. They're close to $1 billion in their budget, and it's a major ordeal, and with I think around 69,000 students. So with that, let us go into a prayer as we start all of our meetings and asking for the one triune God to pour his grace upon us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. We sit before you, Holy Spirit, conscious of our sinfulness, but aware that we gather in your name. Come to us, remain with us, and enlighten our hearts. Give us light and strength to know your will, to make it our own, and to live it in our lives. Guide us by your wisdom, support us by your power, for you are God, sharing the glory of Father and Son. You desire justice for all, enable us to uphold the rights of others. Do not allow us to be misled by ignorance or corrupted by fear or favor. Unite us to yourself in the bond of love, and keep us faithful to all that is true. As we gather in your name, may we temper justice with love, so that all our decisions may be pleasing to you and earn the reward promised to good and faithful servants. We ask this of you who live and reign with the Father and the Son, one God, forever and ever. Amen. And we'll have a couple of our flags behind us, and the Texas pledge is right below there. And we'll do our pledge of allegiance, and you can see the flags there on our monitor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Well, thank you for joining us. We felt that's important to do because our school kids usually do the Pledge of Allegiance and should do that every day. And I'm going to dismiss something real quick, and got a few things going on here that I trouble seeing. Pardon me for just a second. All right, now we're back with you. So what I want to do is Ione is go through. We have been trying to be in. This is our third time to do this, and we look forward to all the candidates. There's 11 candidates running for 5 spots: District 1, District 3, District 4, District 5, and District 6 are all up for election. And there are 3 candidates running for District 6. And we've invited all candidates and hope to do that. So this is a San Antonio Family Association sponsored educational opportunity to educate the voting public and to help you bring along. So all candidates have been invited. We'll go through all the same questions, and everybody will have the same opportunity to give their feedback. So again, thank you for watching, and let us introduce to you Ione McGinty. So Ione, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from. And
Okay. Well, I have a really unique and blessed situation, as that I live in the house that I grew up in. My parents actually bought the house the day I was born. So I grew up in District 3. I went to Jackson Keller Elementary School, Nimitz Middle School, and Robert E. Lee High School. I have been back in that house for over 25 years. So I've been in the district for 45 years, and this community means everything to me. I'm very protective of it. And I grew up, I have 4 brothers, grew up with my grandparents next door to us, and my grandmother was a huge influence on me. I've been married for 38 years. We have 6 children, 5 boys, 1 girl. I also have a special needs son, and 2 of my kids actually got married during the pandemic, so I'm excited to add 2 more to our family. After I attended UT Austin, I worked in the banking industry for 10 years before we started our family. I learned a lot through that experience of working in the bank, and even saw some of the people that I worked for go to federal prison during the savings and loan scandal. So that was very educational. And I have been a lifelong educator. I started teaching tennis when I was 15. That is a passion of mine, not just teaching the skill, but also the opportunity to encourage an individual and make a difference in their life that way. Just inspire them and encourage them to reach their full potential. I have home educated my children. My 4 oldest are out of the home, and they've all attended college. So I believe I've done a really good job of that. And so that's my family.
excellent. Okay, well, it's great to learn that. What do you like to do? What do you do now for your occupation? What do you like to do for recreation?
Okay, so I am self-employed, contract labor. I teach tennis, and I also have my own business, a house cleaning business. So for recreation, I enjoy anything outdoors, whether it's playing tennis, of course, hiking, bike riding, anything outdoors is what I enjoy for recreation. And that's something I very grateful to get to do with my children.
Excellent. So, tell us what you're running for and why you're running for it.
Okay, I am running for NEISD School Board Trustee of District 3. I've watched the school over the years make what I feel the school district makes some poor decisions. I've seen a lot of buildings being built, but I had no idea until recently that there are actually failing elementary schools in the district. And to me, that is unacceptable. A couple years ago, our church partnered with Larkspur Elementary, one of the failing elementary schools, and we offered free tutoring to the students twice a month. So we transformed the gym at the school into a learning center. And just seeing that experience and being a part of that, making a difference in the children's lives, is what propelled me to run for the school board. And I believe that children have to have a strong foundation, and how can they excel in other grade levels if they're failing in the elementary school? So that is what really got me interested in running.
All right, and that's excellent information to know what the motivation is, because everybody wants to know what the motivation is, and is it to advance into another seat, another political position, or is this really to focus on what you're running for?
No, I'm really concerned that there are kids in elementary school that are not learning, and to me that should be the easiest to teach. teaching a child to read is not that difficult. I've done it with mine and my special needs son. Phonics is very easy, and I don't understand why Northeast Independent School District has failing elementary schools. And to me, that's unacceptable, and I would like to make a difference.
Excellent. So share with us, if you would, I assume you have some campaign platforms that you're running on, some highlights.
Well, my main thing is I'm running as an advocate for the students, the parents, and the taxpayers. I don't feel that the parents or taxpayers are being listened to at the school board. And I do not believe in raising taxes. I think the school district has been wasting a lot of money. For example, I'll use Lee High School. They have recently, they're building a $36 million theater on the campus. But prior to that, what they did was tear up what they had done 2 years ago, the parking lot. And I saw trees that had been planted just torn up. And, as a taxpayer, I think they could do better. Those trees could be recycled or given away to the community, but just see resources just destroyed is, I don't like that. And I don't think other taxpayers do either.
Okay. And have you, could you summarize your campaign party platform? Your party platforms, you have 2, 3, or 4 points that you have.
Okay.
Can you just list for people?
No tax increase, use common sense, and I think there's ways to connect the community, to use the community as a resource, just like we did with our church, tutoring the kids. I believe there's other resources in our community, like retirees, that could be a positive influence on the students. And that's what I think. Those are my 3 main things.
Excellent. Okay. And can you go into a little more depth? Would you like to go into a little more depth on them, explaining them in particular?
Well, like our church did, offering free tutoring. I think there are a lot of retirees, and also say like my son that's special needs. He is a great encourager. And I think at the high school level or in the elementary school, where it's very hard, there's a lot of life changes going on and uncertainties, just having a door greeter, just like Walmart. Hey, welcome to school. How's your day going? Is there anything you need help with? Just so that the students do not feel alone at the school. And it's also a way to connect with the community. There's a lot of resources, and by resources, I mean people in our community that want to see every child succeed that comes to school, because it affects all of us.
Excellent. So what do you hope to achieve if you are elected?
I think that we need to get back to basics. We need to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I would like to see the district focus on that and excel at that. I would like to see the stoppage of wasteful spending. Another example that has really caught me is that the Northeast Independent School District has a police force, but during school hours, they're not on the corner, they're not visible. I never see them out there when I'm going by. And one thing that was very profound to me was the day after Sutherland Springs happened. The shooting at Sutherland Springs was on a Sunday. That Monday, when I was on my morning walk, I saw some dogs running around on the campus. So I went into the school to let the security guard know that there was a danger to the students. And when I walked in the school, I was totally surprised that the policemen are not even at the front door. So that's a basic common sense point, is that the district pays for a police force, and I think those policemen need to be visible. And common sense says one needs to be at the front door.
Excellent. So you mentioned your background before a little bit, but go into a little bit more about how your background can help you if you are elected to this position.
Okay, so banking, I learned a lot about you know, compliance, following compliance, dual control, oversight and monitoring. Those things need to be looked at in the district. But also, as home educating my kids for the past 29 years, I have learned how to adjust, what curriculums work for each child, and especially with my special needs child, I've learned how to be flexible, just the common sense things that work. So I've done everything at school. I've been the math teacher, the science teacher, the home economics teacher, the cafeteria monitor, and taught my kids life skills. And these skills of living on a budget, managing a household, being financially responsible are things that I want to bring to the school, because I do not believe that they're being financially responsible with our tax money.
Well, so what is, in regards to that, what is your view of the Board of Trustees' purpose?
Well, the Board of Trustees, the main thing I remember from high school, one of the favorite phrases was taxation without representation. And that's how I feel as a taxpayer. I feel I'm being taxed, I'm contributing to the school district, but I have no representation. When I was in high school at Robert E. Lee High School, one of the main things that was a blessing to me was to be able to walk to the tennis courts, even in middle school, and play tennis. Though that's all closed off. You know, the community is closed off from the school. Okay, I believe the Board of Trustees is supposed to connect to the whole district and be a voice for the taxpayers and advocate for the taxpayers, the parents, and the students. And I feel that the present board is not listening to the taxpayers or the parents.
All right. And if you're elected, what can residents of your district, District 3, right, Lee High School area, what can the residents of that district expect out of you if you are elected?
What they can expect out of me is, number one, I'm very down to earth. I'm a very practical person. Common sense. That's what you can expect from me. I will think on my own. I will not vote with a crowd. If something doesn't make sense to me, I'm going to speak up. I am not afraid to speak up. And that's one thing that the taxpayers can expect from me.
Excellent. And for everybody's understanding, would you go into the district a little bit? What is the area of the district? What's the boundary lines? What are the schools in that, so they can associate District 3? A lot of people aren't as familiar with districts, and you go up maybe you start with the high school and go down, or elementary schools and go up.
Okay, so we have Jackson Keller Elementary School and Castle Hills Elementary School. We have Nimitz Middle School, Jackson Middle School, and Lee High School. And the district is kind of confusing because there are parts of Castle Hills that are not included in that district. So it's not like just a circle. It's, you know, cut out. So it's even very confusing to me how it's drawn. But so there's actually residents in Castle Hills that are not in District 3. But yet Castle Hills Elementary School is in District 3. So it's the surrounding majority, the Lee High School area.
Yeah, and everybody that feeds into Lee High School.
Yes, sir.
Very good. That helps with clarification. So a basic question on policy and and your personage. Are you pro-life?
Yes, I am very pro-life.
What does that mean to you?
What that means to me is that every individual is got value and purpose, and that life begins at conception, and that all life should be valued. I believe that Roe v. Wade marked the devaluation of human life in our society, and that has caused a plethora of problems. If we cannot protect innocent unborn children, I don't know who's safe. That's where it starts, is protecting unborn children. And that respect for life shows throughout everything. That when you can respect life, you're going to value everybody, the elderly, the disabled.
So let me check something real quick, see if this lighting helps with back here. And I think that is better. Ladies touch, is that better?
I don't know.
Okay, well, that's excellent. So I guess a continuation of that is, do you recognize an inherent conflict of interest with abortion businesses and providers and their affiliates that providing and having access to public schools, providing sex education curriculum in these public schools?
Absolutely. A couple years ago at Lee High School, the principal allowed a planned Pizza Hut fundraiser to be advertised in the school. And when I found out about that, I was appalled. To me, that I have a special needs child, and he's very aware of what abortion is, and he's very aware of what that his demographic is targeted by Planned Parenthood. So I think they have no place in public school.
How true it is. And actually, on a personal note, my son was a freshman at Lee High School when that happened and informed me of it. And I was completely distraught, dismayed. We did take action on it, visited the principal about it. And we'll go into that today, but I lived through that. And
yes.
I completely appreciate how flabbergasted you might have been at that fundraiser.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, so this past last week, the State Board of Education was doing a 20-year review on the health teaks for public schools. And so they deliberated, and it's the second time they've done it, also last month and this month. And one of the things they discussed was Education Code 28.004 that says that 50% or more of the sex education curriculum has to be abstinence-based. Now, sex education itself is voluntary and not required of independent school districts yet. The Northeast Independent School District has chosen to do that, and they've made some very bad choices in regards to sex education of late. But so in light of that, will you support sexual risk avoidance, which are abstinence-based programs, rather than sexual risk reduction programs? And what's your feeling on that?
Yes, I definitely support sexual risk avoidance. That's just common sense. We teach kids not to smoke, not to drink, because there's health risk, and I think that should be the same. Abstinence is the best thing. No worries, and so I would like to say that what Northeast Independent School District, the curriculum that they adopted is horrific. In September of 2017, I actually went to Lee High School to look at the curriculum. I was not allowed, as a potential parent, to look at the curriculum. I was allowed to see an outline, and I had to have an administrator with me. And that lack of transparency just made it clear that my child would not be safe at that school. If the school district cannot trust me as a potential parent to view what they are teaching the children, why would I trust them with my child? So sexual risk avoidance, abstinence-based is the best way to go. And I would also like to say that in Bexar County, the highest rate of STDs is in Stone Oak area, which is an NEISD school area. So obviously their curriculum is having negative effects on the students in that area. So
that's certainly not healthy for the students on
right.
a long-term basis. Okay. So what is your opinion of independent school districts teaching lifestyle choices in school? You sort of answered that about being consistent, having scholastic consistency, which is also intellectual honesty. Yeah, so what's your opinion of independent school districts, including Northeast ISD, teaching lifestyle choices in school?
So it's very interesting. When we went to the candidate orientation at the school board meeting, they told us to check all our values at the door. And I just wonder, where do they get their morals from? And I think that this is not something to be taught in school. The schools are failing because they're not focusing on reading, writing, and arithmetic. They're teaching things that are anti-God. So they're teaching humanism, and that should not be taught in school. So I think they need to get back to the basics and leave the moral training to the parents and not try to indoctrinate students the way that they feel.
Okay, very good. So even though this is a nonpartisan election, how would you describe yourself personally and even politically?
Okay, I would say I'm a constitutional conservative. I believe in less government. The less government you have, the better. The less you're taxed. It's appalling right now how much we as citizens are taxed everywhere. And we've just become such a nanny state. You know, the schools are providing free meals. They're doing this, they're doing that. Where's the parental responsibility? I think we need to get back to basics, and less government is better. And so that's where I stand.
And so thank you for sharing that. One of the things that I think would be fun for people to know is they see your name on the ballot, or they see your name on your printed literature. They might see it IONE. They don't know how to pronounce it. Do you have a way to help
yes,
people remember
that? I'm very blessed to have been named after my sweet Irish grandmother, Ione, and you say it Ione, like I own a car. It's IONE.
Easy to remember.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about these following issues? Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and a lot of students are in virtual classrooms, although it's opening up this week, I believe. Some students are have an option to come back into class and be there in person. I think they're starting to phase that in, assuming there's not another outbreak or escalation. But how do you feel about those virtual classrooms and learning?
Well, I can personally say I hate them because I went to school last semester at SAC, and we had to move to a virtual classroom, and I did not like it. I think kids should be able to learn without a laptop, without a computer. And I know there were a lot of issues with these virtual classrooms, including people, I don't know if the correct word would be infiltrating them. And we had a problem out at Johnson High School with this. But if everything's going to be virtual, why are we spending all this money on the buildings? So I think it would have been wise for the fall start to just wait. What would have been a harm to wait 3 weeks and everybody go back in person after Labor Day?
Right. And should schools be allowed to teach prayer or allow prayer in school?
I know when I went to elementary school, we were allowed to pray every morning after the announcements and said the pledge. And I think that should be allowed in schools.
And parental access to all learning materials shown to children. You addressed this a little bit.
Yes.
Maybe you want to go into a little bit further.
Well, and I'll follow up on that. Yes, I think parents should have full access to the learning materials. And also, I had requested to see an American history textbook, and I was denied that opportunity. I wanted to see the curriculum, what they're teaching as American history, but for parents to be denied access to these materials, or even taxpayers being denied, it's irreprehensible. It's not acceptable to me.
Irreprehensible too.
Yes.
So an issue that's on the ballot with you on this election is pre-K for SA, and that there's 16 school districts in the San Antonio area. That really makes the 17th school district, so to say, for pre-K4. And would you be comfortable in sharing your feelings about pre-K for SA and any insight on that?
Well, as a taxpayer, I look at what return are we getting on our investment. I do not believe it is a responsibility of city government to provide the education for the students. That's the parents' job for pre-K for for pre-K. It is more of a babysitting service, how I see it. A child at this age needs to be with their parent. They can't be in a class all day long. I know, teaching my kids, they need to be outside and they need nap time. And that's my kids at a young age, they needed regular meal times. They needed to be read to, and they needed to take their afternoon naps at home. And to me, that was a sacrifice I made as a parent. And I don't really call it a sacrifice because that was my responsibility. But pre-K for SA is a total waste of money.
I'm going to try something while we're in between questions. I have somebody requesting me to try some lighting issues to help improve it. So I apologize for any technical issues all on me. And as we try to get the lighting right. So a couple, I think this last legislative session, the Texas legislature passed a pre-K4 program for the state of Texas. And now you have overlapping programs between pre-K for SA and Texas pre-K4. So do you have any feelings about that?
I see, I've been a stay-at-home mom. I've had to live on a very limited budget. So I have to make wise decisions. And to me, throwing money at what they are saying is an issue it's not the answer. There's so much waste in government spending, and it does not make a difference in the long term of a child. For children this age, it's not hard to teach. It's phonics. It's adding 2 + 2, which can be done at home. Add up your raisins. That's how I taught a lot of my kids. Was if you really wanted their attention, you had to get M&Ms. But they learn. And my special needs child, my son with Down syndrome, he knew his whole alphabet when he was 4 years old. And it's not hard.
And you need Starburst to help them be quiet.
Right.
When you get them talking.
Right. And moon pies are great for teaching fractions.
So, if you would, and as charitable as possible, because we always seek virtue here with everything we do, is tell us a little bit about your opponent and if your opponent has done any good or bad things, as objective as possible.
Okay, I have personally never met my opponent. His name is Omar Laos, and he is a school teacher in Harlandale Independent School District. He has not been in the district as long as I am, as a resident in District 3. I believe he's been here 5 years. He does not have any children, so I feel that he does not bring that natural instinct of a mother knowing what is best for her children to the table. So that's where I feel, having raised 6 children, I feel I have a firsthand knowledge of what it takes to make a child succeed. And one of my brothers complimented me one time. He said, Ione, I learned more being in your household for an hour than my whole semester in child development. So that would be the proof in my pudding is my 4 oldest. And I always say I'm not bragging on myself, but my 4 oldest all clept out of a whole year of English in college. So that means with one test, they got 6 hours of credit of English. So I must be doing something right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And to get a compliment from a sibling. That's
yes,
huge.
yes.
Can't imagine it.
Yes.
So, anything else to add on that regard? So votes or anything in the
Well,
board?
Recently there was a vote that I watched at the school board. There was a special meeting where a parent had filed a grievance about the sex ed curriculum that was adopted in May of 2016. This parent did an incredible job of presenting evidence that the curriculum not only violated state law, but it was in violation of the Texas Education Code. So this parent had spent a lot of time and energy, and what I know is blood, sweat, and tears. He presented it to the board. Not one board member had a question for him, and then the board just unanimously voted to dismiss his grievance because it was, quote, not done in a timely manner. So I'm really appalled by that how the board threw the parents, the taxpayers, and the students under the bus that night. This curriculum is proven to be harmful to young ladies, and not one question from the board for the parents that brought this grievance. And so my opponent voted to dismiss this grievance and without any question. And so I find that very concerning. As a parent, I find that very concerning.
I agree. And so as far as, I don't know if you know voting history or not, but has there been has he gone against any of the other votes as well? How's his voting record been other than that?
It's my understanding that all the past board meetings, 500 or so, have been unanimous. And so that shows me that there's no diversity of thought on the school board right now. You might have what one of the board members said, we have a diverse board because there's, different skin colors, but there is no diversity of thought on the NEISD school board right now, and that's what I'd like to bring.
All right. So what are some things you really like about NEISD, Northeast ISD, and what they're doing?
Well, I really don't know. I can't say what I like because I have just noticed things I don't like. The local high school, my area is what I see. And I've seen a lot of building going on, a lot of buildings being built. I've seen, say like Jackson Keller Elementary School, they've added playground equipment. They've added a walking track. but everything's closed off to the community. And so, you know, students on the weekend can't go over there and play like we did when we were growing up. And you look at Lee High School now, there are absolutely, or technically, 4 different schools on that campus. So we have quadrupled the amount of principals, you know, red tape, vice principals. So the cost of running the campus has quadrupled. There's no green space on that campus. There's no parking. In Castle Hills, where I live, the city has put up signs because there's no place to park on the Lee campus. So I think they have made a lot of unwise decisions in the planning on that campus. They haven't planned well. And then, like I've said earlier, I've seen trees just, you know, that taxpayers paid for 2 years later just being bulldozed.
For the last 4 years, my son just graduated from Lee High School, and I was witness to how many students are parking out in the community. And it's quite a mess.
Right. There's no, you know, when I attended school there, it was a beautiful campus. You had a beautiful green space. You had, you know, a welcoming sidewalk to walk in. You had trees that, you know, you could go sit under, you know, during your break or after school. And matter of fact, one of the things that led me to homeschool was being in one of my classes at Lee, looking outside at the trees and thinking, you know, why can't we go outside and read today? So, but it's very sad to see that that's all gone. You know, there's no green space on that campus now.
No competing thoughts for wanting to go outside.
Right.
They used to have a very welcoming statue of Robert E. Lee when you walked in the main entrance of the high school as well.
Right. Mm-hmm. That was a gift by the alumni to the school. So.
Any news where it might be today?
No news. The district was supposed to create an on-campus museum, but that is, you know, has, as my last understanding, not completed, and it's not open to the public.
Okay. So and you might keep this to maybe 1, 2, or 3. What are some areas of improving for the NEISD?
Okay. Common sense. One thing that has really bothered me as I go down Jackson Keller in front of Lee High School is the school zone signs. They do not even cover the whole amount of the school. You know, common sense would tell me you start the school zone before or where the school starts, the campus starts, and then where it ends. No, the school zone at Lee High School is about, you know, 1/3 of the campus, and that makes no sense. And another thing, running as an advocate, what I have done the past several years is I tell people 311 is your friend. In front of Lee High School, Jackson Keller is not a good road. There are no side markings or lane markings by a ditch there. So literally right in front of the school, it goes from 2 lanes to no man's land. As a parent, I don't like that. I would not feel safe with my child, you know, attending there. That needs to be addressed. The school district has not worked with the city of San Antonio or the city of Castle Hills to get this fixed. And I have, over the past 3 years, made several calls to 311, advocated to get this situation fixed. And that is also an issue I would like to reiterate. There is a problem in front of Ridgeview Elementary. So there is a sidewalk in front of the school, but across the school in City of San Antonio, District 1, Roberto Trevino's district, the sidewalk is just pretty much non-existent. And, you know, I'm always thinking of parents with small children and special needs. The sidewalk, you can't even push a stroller on it. And so these are things I would like to see NEISD address, is the safety of the students on the campus and around the school.
Very good. So what are the resources you have available that you'd like people watching and voters to be able to get more information about you, how to help you, how to volunteer, how to give campaign contributions? Share with us how people find out more about you.
Okay, thank you. I have a Facebook page, Ione McGinty, for NEISD Board of Trustees, District 3. You can reach me there and find helpful information. Also, I have a website, Vote for Ione. That's voteforionem.com. But reaching me through the Facebook page is the best way.
And what are you looking for in the way of help?
If you would like to block walk for me, or if you live in District 3 and you would like a sign, please contact me, send me a message on Facebook, and I'll be happy to come bring you one. And also, word of mouth is the best thing. If you live in District 3, please tell your neighbors about me and have them vote, and encourage them to go all the way down the ballot. This is very important. The school districts spend a lot of money, but more importantly, the school board implements policies that affect every child in the district. And those children grow up and affect our society. That's why, to me, it's very important that these failing elementary schools get fixed. And there used to be a pastor even that would go read books to children at one of the elementary schools. And I know there's other retirees and people that would just love to be useful. And that's the untapped resource we need to use.
And how about an email address if somebody's not on Facebook and they don't know it? How else do they access it?
You can email me at ionem@juno.com. That's ionem@juno.com.
And Ione stands for the first letter.
McGinty.
Ione, your first
Yes.
initial of your last name.
Yes.
Very good. ionem@juno.com.
Yes.
Very good. So any last thoughts you'd like to leave with voters about what you'd like them to know about you?
Well, I love the city, and I don't like what I've seen. Just viewing the past 25 years being back in the house that I grew up in, I have just seen the quality of the education go down, and that's not good. That's not good for our community. That's not good for our society or America in whole. So I'm a very practical person. I don't believe in spending more money. I believe there's ways we can cut costs and, recycle things, reuse our resources like the trees I was telling you about. So you can count on me to be responsible with spending and integrity, and being able to get along with everybody.
And just recap real quick what your 3 primary campaign platforms are, and if you look at everybody.
Okay, I can't remember what I said earlier, but we need to reduce spending. They're spending way too much on buildings and not on our teachers and the students. That's where our focus needs to be, getting back to the basics of reading, writing, and arithmetic. And you don't need to spend more money for that. We have plenty of resources. The amount of money that NEISD gets is incredible. We need to spend less buildings and more, put more value on our teachers and the students, and connecting the community to the schools.
Pretty good. All right. And if there's nothing else that you left out or any other issues that you'd like to have addressed?
No, I'm very grateful to be here. I'm just really grateful for this opportunity to run and represent the community and be an advocate for the parents and the students and the taxpayers. And I think I can get us all working together for that.
Very good. Well, thank you for coming in, Ione. I know you have a busy schedule
Yes.
with all the campaign, with 49 days before Election Day.
Yes, sir.
And everything to go along with that, as well as taking care of your family and everything else you do. So thank you very much for making time to come to the San Antonio Family Association and have us get to know the candidate in conversation one-on-one. And people get to see another side of you instead of just the rush of a 3-minute speech.
Yes, well,
might be.
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you working with my schedule. You had asked me to come out another time, but yes, we have boys to go to basketball practice today, so yeah, so.
Well, we'll close in prayer, and on behalf of the San Antonio Family Association, I want to thank you again for joining us for this Get to Know the Candidate running for NEISD School Board. And we'll close in prayer for our country, including our own school district here in Northeast Independent School District. God our Father,
giver of life, we entrust the United States of America, the state of Texas, Bexar County, and the city of San Diego to your loving care. You are the rock on which this nation was founded. You alone are the true source of our cherished rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Reclaim this land for your glory and dwell among your people. Send your Spirit to touch the hearts of our nation's leaders with an intense desire to fulfill their responsibilities that protect individuals, marriages, families, and long-term domestic prosperity. Open our public officials' minds and all people who live in America to the inevitable worth of human life, to the responsibilities that accompany human freedom. Remind your people that true happiness is rooted in seeking and doing your will. Through the intercession of your Holy Spirit, grant us the courage to reject the culture of death, indifference, communism, and socialism, egalitarianism, environmentalism, and totalitarianism, and bless us with the desire, strength, and fortitude to be courageous conduits to help bring about a new culture of life, freedom, responsibility, marriage, and family. We ask your divine assistance to help us be and remain faithful to you, and for our collective petitions through your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. Again, thank you very much. On behalf of the San Antonio Family Association, my name is Patrick Blondilla, and we hope this has been a very educational opportunity to get to know Ione McGinty, candidate for District 3, Northeast Independent School District, which is the Lee High School area. And if you're in that area, you can get to know her. We have extended an invitation to her candidate opponent, as well as all candidates running for Northeast Independent School District Board of Trustees. And we hope to have them all on in the very short time we have between now and Election Day. Again, 49 days until Election Day, November 3rd, 2020. And this is the first time in the state of Texas that you will have an opportunity to vote on every election, because there's no straight party ticket voting. And no matter what party you were, and Northeast Independent School District voting and elections are nonpartisan, so you have to go down ballot to get them anyway. It's going to be a long ballot. Please, it's very important for the protection of Texas children that you go all the way down ballot and make sure that you cast your votes down there at the very bottom of the ballot. So again, thank you very much for your time and attention, and we hope that this has been an opportunity for you to grow in your information and education of what's happening in San Antonio, and in this particular case, Northeast Independent School District. And God bless you. Have a great day. Thank you. There you go.